Well, the Buckeyes' road to the Final Four begins on Friday in Pittsburgh. The Ohio State men's basketball team is the 7th seed in the South region. They will take on the 10th seed in Loyola of Chicago. Hello, everyone. I'm Dom Tiberi, joined now by our guys, Dave Holmes and Adam King of 10 TV, and by Timmy Hall and former Buckeye basketball player Joey Lane from 97.1 The Fan. Don't forget, you'll be able to watch the game live on 10 TV, or you can listen to it live on radio at 97.1 The Fan. Tip-off slated for around 12:15 in the afternoon. Joey, we're going to begin with you. Where is the confidence of this Buckeye basketball team right now? They've lost 4 out of their last 5, including 1 and done in the Big Ten tournament. You want to be playing your best ball this time of the year. I don't know that we can be saying that. And, oh, by the way, I heard you say you like this noon tip on Friday, right?
Yeah, I mean, cautiously optimistic, right? I mean, I think that you saw last year they were hot coming into the tournament. That didn't work out so well. So maybe change of pace here, sputtering a bit. Maybe they'll find some new needs, some new wants, some new desires to play some better basketball and roll through this tournament.
But is the confidence lacking, you think, with these guys?
They're human. Yeah, they're human. The beauty of being a 22-year-old kid, 18 to 22-year-old kid, is yes, you have the confidence all the time, and sometimes you're wrong about how confident you should be. So I think that they are probably a little more confident than maybe they should be, but they always have the confidence.
Kids are more resilient. For the coaching staff, it's hard on them, right?
Absolutely. I think that they are the guys who are more anxious, more ready to roll, ready to see how their team responds. The players, I'm not worried about it. The coaches, they're going to coach their great basketball games. But yeah, cautiously optimistic. I think that's the way to put it.
Dave, the one thing about them playing on Friday is they get an extra day to rest up. They get an extra day to get some guys healed up. Kyle Young, Zed Key, they remain question marks. What do we know about them? And how far can this team go if they don't have those guys?
Not far. Next question. Okay, so yeah, they need both those guys, clearly. My gut says you're more likely to see Zed Key than Kyle Young. I think that's clear when you're talking head injuries for sure. Chris Holtmann was pretty candid about this. He said if we were playing in Dayton earlier in the week, no chance they play. They get a few extra days, so I think you're more likely to see Zed than Kyle. Now, do they need them? Yeah. They need them because these are the 3rd and 4th leading scorers on their own team, and a team that struggles to score at times, because we saw what you can do with Malachi and EJ Liddell against Penn State, and that's all you got to look at is Penn State. When they had Kyle Young, they swept Penn State, and he led the team in scoring and rebounds in that earlier game this season. So they need Kyle Young and Zed Key. I mean, Malachi and EJ combined for 41 points against Penn State. It's not like they played poorly. No one else was there, so they need those guys to be there to make a run. I think this could be a one-and-done team, potentially, maybe a win-and-done without them. I honestly, and I know this sounds fairly hot take-ish, but I think they can actually get to the second weekend if they had both those guys healthy, but I don't know even if they play if they'll be 100%.
Timmy, it was a brutal stretch. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the COVID pause they had to deal with, and then you got games, just weather, postponing games and everything. And then they had a brutal February, had to play a lot of games in a short amount of time. And then you got the injuries. Fans don't want to hear about all the problems. They just want to see results. But those are facts. Is the criticism fair?
Yeah, I absolutely think that there's reason to be critical. I mean, the numbers are what the numbers are. You do, and Joey will tell you this, you want to play your best basketball at the end of the season. It's when tournament time comes around. I mean, we talk about the idea of Ohio State taking on Villanova in a second round. Ohio State's got to beat Loyola, of course, to get there. But, the thing, whether it would be a good matchup or a bad matchup, Jay Wright and his teams, this guy's won national championships. This guy wins Big East tournament titles. This guy wins championships left and right. And Holtmann's had some success against him, regular season success.
You like this matchup?
I do like Ohio State to get out of the first round. I don't like the matchup of Ohio State against Villanova in March. No, I think Colin Gillespie is a gift to college basketball. It's the kind of guy that Ohio State needs. No, I didn't say that at all.
Who brings up Villanova before Loyola Chicago even laces the sneakers on?
Right, I want to make it clear. I respect Loyola. The question was criticism for Chris Holtmann. I think it's lunacy to start talking about firing him. I think it's beyond fanatical to get to that stage.
Do you hear the keys typing? I hear the keys right now. People aren't happy right now.
Making 5 straight NCAA tournaments is something. I know we like to live in this world where you have to make it every year, and then it's about advancing. You do need to advance every once in a while, but he's got a top 5 national recruiting class coming back. So those guys are going to be freshmen. So then you're going to possibly have a year transition. And again, I would expect they make a tournament even in a transitional year because that's what he's proven he's done. And Joey, until last year, and Adam, he's never lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Never, as a coach.
I think that was something that Holtman kind of touched on right after the selection show was you don't just get into the tournament. Not everybody just makes the NCAA tournament, and that's how it's felt since he's got here. There's never really been a moment where you've sat on the edge of your seat and gone, is this team going to be in? It's once they're in, what's the question?
Year 2 is the only one.
Yeah, but
and they got in and they beat Iowa State.
And they made a mini run there. Yeah. So, when you look at this team, you do have to give them credit. 5 straight years, counting that COVID year of being in the NCAA tournament.
And I think, Adam, you got to give them credit for what they did. This is a long season, and it's a resume. And this team proved they can beat anyone. They beat #1 ranked Duke at the time. They went into Illinois, and they beat the Illini. Now, of course, they're struggling down the stretch of the regular season and then one and done in the tournament. But you can talk about the injuries, and that is a factor. With that said, how much of this game, how much of this tournament run will be on E.J. Liddell and Malachi Branham? And Branham, this is going to be his resume. If he's thinking about one and done, this is the time to do it.
Well, kind of touching on the Duke and Illinois thing, the Duke game seems like a long time ago, but the Illinois thing was a month ago. I mean, when you talk about they went into Illinois, and they didn't just beat Illinois. They looked really good for about 35 minutes of basketball, and then that last 5 minutes seemed to kind of almost play into the rest of the season.
Hang on.
But when you look at this team, I'll go back to E.J. Liddell, and I can't pinpoint exactly what game it was, but he said after the game, when we play our best basketball, we are one of the best teams in the country. And everybody kind of said, whoa, that's a big statement to make. But at that point, it really did look like it. And I do think the E.J. Liddell, Malachi Branham duo has the March sound to it. If you think about March Madness, and if you're looking back, let's say, 6 months from now, and hey, how was the NCAA tournament? Do you remember when E.J. Liddell and Malachi Branham went absolutely insane and helped Ohio State take down a Villanova team, take down a Loyola, and make a run? I think they have to do that. But I also think it has to be a different level than we've seen in the Big Ten tournament game against Penn State. And it has to be that second tier where it's like these guys are the best players in the tournament right now, which Buckeye fans then have to decide. Do you want Malachi Branham scoring 30 points in the NCAA tournament and having to worry about him coming back next year?
Joey, you look at this basketball team, and to me, the common thread down the stretch when they lost those 4 out of 5, the shooting went south. When this team's making buckets, shooting 50%, it kind of hides their defense. Coach Holtman has talked all season long about how they have to play better defense. In your mind, when you look at what they're doing defensively, what is missing?
Yeah, it is funny, right? And the idea of basketball is you could really just outscore your opponent and win the games, which has not been Holtman's identity since he came to Ohio State. It's been defense and grinding games out and winning on the defensive end. However, there's clearly been a shift in the last few seasons. What's wrong with the defense? You could point at so many different things, but there's one thing that can cure, a defensive, like a poor performance, and that is energy and effort. And I think that the energy and the effort hasn't quite been there for a number of different reasons, whether it is they just don't have it that night, or you play 5 games in what felt like 5 days, basically, for them coming down the stretch without all their pieces. I mean, we just talked about it. When they're healthy, they're one of the best teams in the country. They've proved it. So I think with energy and effort and this rest that they're going to have, no one wants to lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, but the extra days that they're going to have to rest is going to be huge in trying to get that whole collective team back together. And when Kyle Young is out there, on offense we're better, and on defense we are so much better. It's the same with Zed Key. It goes both ways.
All right, Dave, this matchup with Loyola out of Chicago, we're talking about a team that has embraced the Cinderella role. We've seen them in the past. Of course, they have Sister Jean. And, oh, by the way, there is an Ohio tie, which we have seen this movie before, where kids that grew up in Ohio come back and make Ohio State pay. Talking about Braden Norris out of Hilliard Bradley. Yep. By the way, he's the second leading scorer. Does this matchup scare you?
Well, yeah, he's going to bring it, right? I mean, he averages 10 points a game, second leading scorer. Started in Oakland, now he's here in Loyola. Yeah, he's going to go at him for sure. I think it's interesting that we talk about Loyola Chicago as the Cinderella team. In the last 5 years, Loyola Chicago has 6 tournament wins. Ohio State has 1. So who has more success in March? They're a mid-major, but they play in the Missouri Valley, which is a major mid-major. It's not the MEAC, it's not the Ivy, it's not the Sun Belt. They play ball in the Missouri Valley Conference. So this is a team that has more tournament experience than Ohio State, more tournament wins than Ohio State, a good conference. I mean, I don't. That's why this is a borderline pick 'em, depending on what book you go to, none of which are legal in Ohio yet. Please, we're talking here. But yeah, so I do think it's going to be a very competitive game, and I don't think you just pencil in Ohio State for an easy win. I know, this guy to my right here already has the story of Malachi and EJ written that they dominated the tournament. This guy's got them taking Handsome Jay right down to the final buzzer. I think Loyola Chicago is someone to be reckoned with first off. I think they're a good team.
All right, Timmy, the fans, we talked about it earlier, been hard on Coach Holtman. You go to social media, it is visceral.
Don't go there.
And I understand the frustration, but no offense, the players and the coaches are also frustrated. They're the guys that put all the work in. They're the guys. No one wants to win more than those guys. I don't know. What do you say to the fans? Because, you know, you see it. You talk to them on radio every day.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I will never do, I'm not going to tell a fan how to think. I think they are part of what makes this time of year special. This is why it's madness. This is why it's crazy. I think the interesting thing, too, when people take shots at Ohio State basketball fans, we know they're there. You could say whatever you want about the Schottenstein Center and the environment for college basketball, as opposed to when you go to some of the old, like if I go and take in a game at the Palestra in Philadelphia and then come back and go to a game at the Schottenstein Center, and it's a Tuesday night, and it's maybe, you know, the 5th strongest non-conference game. It's not going to feel the same. But they're in the top 20 in attendance.
Pressure, though? Is Coach Holt feeling the pressure?
I'm sure he feels pressure because he's a guy that wants to win. He's a guy that's paid a good salary to win basketball games, and he has been a winner. And it's fair to ask for conference championships. It's fair to ask for runs in the tournament. I just think you have to be reasonable when you look at these things. And, you know, Joey, you could speak to what it's like when barbs get thrown on social media. Human, right? Yeah. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, 100%. And to say that me as a former player and a guy who's closer to the program doesn't feel that some of the stuff is warranted would be lying. I mean, like, you know, you're not winning at the level that he was winning at in the past, right? But you got to be realistic in the expectations. You got to look at the health of the roster, the crazy COVID schedule. It really is, and I'm not here to make excuses for Coach Holtman. That's not what I'm here for. But the facts are the facts, and this team, when healthy, is awesome, and hopefully they get a chance to showcase it. But at the end of the day, Coach Holt, that whole staff, all the players, like you said, Dom, they want to win more than the fans do. I can guarantee you that. So it's not for lack of trying and lack of effort. They'll be just fine when all said and done.
Dave, the Big Ten has 9 teams in the dance. Is this the best conference in the country?
No, deepest conference perhaps. I still think if you look at Kansas, Baylor, Texas Tech, I think the Big 12 by most metrics is probably the best. But I do think when you go 9 teams deep, there's something to be said for that. Kind of like football too, where I think the Big Ten is maybe deeper than the SEC, but the SEC is more top-heavy. I think it's a similar case in basketball with the Big 12.
Of the Big Ten teams, Adam, who has the best chance to make a run to the Final Four?
Iowa, without a doubt. This Iowa team, yeah, without a doubt.
No, it's fine until you said without a doubt, like we can't even debate it.
I mean, I guess if you want to throw Wisconsin in there, that's fine. I think Purdue has struggled down the stretch here. This Iowa team, I said going into the Big Ten tournament that they looked like the most dangerous team in the conference, and then they just went, won the Big Ten tournament. So when you look at a 5 seed for this team, I thought it was a little low. Fitting if you do what the committee does, which is the grand scheme of the whole season. But I would not want to play the Iowa Hawkeyes. And while I have yet to fill out my bracket, I've got them in the Final Four.
All right. Moment of truth time. We're going to start with you, Timmy Hall. What do you expect on Friday? Ohio State, Loyola. Who wins and why?
I think Ohio State is going to win this game. I just think that the effort and the energy that Joey speaks about, I think they've heard a lot of this noise, and I think it's going to spark these guys. And metrics-wise, KenPom ratings, whatever you want to look at, it's going to favor Loyola. You could argue that the 10 seed is too low, that these mid-majors get underseeded all the time, but I just think they're going to go deep into the tool bag and bring out everything that they got, and EJ and Malachi and 1 or 2 other guys are going to have surprising performances, and I'll have them go into the second round.
Joey?
Well, I guess I have Loyola on upset alert because it seems like they're the favorite. So I'm gonna take the Buckeyes. I'm gonna ride with Ohio State. I mean, for better or for worse, I think that there's a ton of metrics also that favor Ohio State, where Loyola does not rebound the ball well. That's something that if they did do well, it would be a big problem for Ohio State. I think Loyola also plays slow, which kind of favors Ohio State as well. I think that they have a young first-year coach who's a stud. There's no doubt about it. Valentine is unbelievable, but a young coach in his first NCAA tournament game, I mean, then you go to Holt.
How do you see it, David?
Yeah, I like the Buckeyes in a hard-fought game. For me, in March, generally, I like the team with the best player on the court, and I think we can make a strong case they have the two best. Granted, that wasn't enough against Penn State, so it's going to take more than that, apparently. So I'm hoping Zed Key gets at least 80% healthy. He provides a third punch there, and if they can get 8 or 10 out of Zed, perhaps, I like Ohio State to win.
I think Ohio State is an underdog team with overdog talent if they can get it together, if they can get healthy. And I think they finally get that rest that Holtman's been talking about for so long. They get that extra day going into Friday. Zed Key, like you said, hopefully can get back to 80%. And in that regard, I think it's going to be a tight game. I don't think there's any.
We're really doing it, huh? Yep.
We going Jenkins?
We're really doing it.
Hold on. Dom hasn't made his Rambler pick. If I know Dom, like I think I do,
oh, God, he's all on Loyola.
Freezing cold take.
Yeah.
It's going to have all of our picks at the bottom with all the Ohio State guys.
Here's the bottom line. Without Kyle Young, without Zed Key, this could be a long day for Ohio State. I really do believe that. I'm hoping Zed plays. I'm not so confident that we're going to see Kyle Young. This is Vegas doesn't get too many of these wrong, and Vegas basically has it as a pick 'em game. Yesterday, I believe Ohio State was favored by 1.5. Today, the money went on Loyola. They're now a 1.5 favorite. It's a pick 'em game. Ohio State beat Duke. Ohio State a month ago beat Illinois. They can win this game, but guys, I'm not picking. I can't. I hope Ohio State wins. I pray they win. I want to see them win. But
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna make a call.
It's a very reasonable take.
Once I make a call and put some, I'm gonna put
really
some big money. If I make a call and put the big money on, we'll get the line back in Ohio State's favor.
Yeah, do that. Yeah,
I just got one phone call and that line's going that way.
Yeah.
And if you bet them, there's a good chance Ohio State wins.
Yeah,
because that's the only place he's going to spend any money to make.
That's right. That's not.
You know, he took out Abe Lincoln one day. He had sunglasses on.
He hadn't seen the sun. He hadn't seen the sun.
All right, guys, good stuff. Keep it on 10 TV and 97.1 The Fan for all your Buckeye coverage and your NCAA tournament coverage. Remember, the Buckeyes kick off the NCAA tournament on Friday in Pittsburgh. They will take on Loyola of Chicago. Be sure and watch it live on 10 TV, and you can listen to it live on radio at 97.1 The Fan. Thanks to our guys. Tip-off is at 12:15 on Friday.